Hello.
We want to walk you through the lower levels of consciousness
The lower
called
levels
force.
of consciousness.
Yeah. So God, shame, yeah.
Let's start at the bottom.
20, it calibrates at 20, shame. Actually, when you look at all the areas in our lives where we feel shame, it's something that we so push away, but it's so important that, when you are running this program subconsciously, it will affect all the outcomes in your life. So it's so important that instead of listening to the voice of shaming yourself, you start to feel good about yourself. So this is very important. Instead of devaluing yourself and beating yourself up, which is like a program of the mass conscious mind, is to start valuing yourself. And that's really what Source is. Source loves us unconditionally. So this is really, where we need to actually do a video with we're going to do a video with the flamingo in the tissue box. It's about the levels of consciousness of shame. Like literally all of us, we can have 100 stories of why we should feel shame, but Source doesn't agree with us, and that's why it feels horrible.
And for me, it was so eye-opening because I felt so much shame during my childhood for all the things that happened in my life. I felt so much shame, and then when I saw it was the lowest one, I was like, oh my God, I've been in shame so much in my life, and the lowest of all. But it doesn't feel so bad because you're like, oh, it's just me. I'm just hurting myself. I just feel bad, but I'm not doing anything to anyone else. But actually, what you're doing is like the worst. It's the worst feeling, worst emotion there is. So I think that's really important to remember, that shame, because you're really devaluing yourself. And what we're doing with appreciation is increasing the value of things and people and
the most
ourselves.
Important thing is ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to appreciate ourselves, because if you don't appreciate yourself, you cannot appreciate other people. So definitely this is a big game changer for both of us, because we very often find it easy to appreciate other people, but regarding ourselves, we're so tough on ourselves. The more we do personal development, the more we beat ourselves up. So this is like a big game changer thing that we need to overcome. We need to change it, like today. Yeah?
Yes.
So guilt. You know what? When I was studying Jungian analytical psychology many years ago, when I was in my 30s, I realized that a lot of children, they're walking around with inflated guilt. Meaning, as a little child, we attribute almost magical qualities to ourselves. And when mommy and daddy or something happens in the outer world, we always think it's us. So imagine that you are programmed from 0 to 7, and you're going to go out into the world and you see things happening and you start blaming yourself, thinking because it's an illusion that you have that amount of power over adults. You're a little child and you think you created mommy not being happy, you created daddy leaving you, you created I don't know what. So this is really another thing that we need to overcome, which is feeling inflated guilt for all the things that happened. Instead, we can appreciate the contrast. We can appreciate the beautiful, difficult life experiences that we took on as a soul, and thank them because it brought us to where we were right now.
Yeah. And a lot of children do that. They take it on that for themselves, and that's when you were programmed when you were a child. So you felt a lot of guilt for things that happened in your family life, probably. And it's not necessarily yours, but that's what children do. So be kind to yourself and loving, and see it as a beautiful thing, but you don't have to hold on to it anymore.
Instead of feeling guilt, we would say, bless or feel appreciative of your family heritage, because a lot of the emotions that we're going to go through, they're very often ancestral, they're very often on a historic level, from the collective level. So a lot of things that we're feeling under 200, they're mass consciousness. So for instance, a lot of countries that have had world wars, like for instance Germany, or for instance in South Africa, what we see is a lot of people that are still feeling ancestral guilt, and so they start sabotaging their own lives because their grandparents or the great grandparents did certain things. So you can imagine, we have to understand that not everything under 200 is ours, but we have the responsibility and the power to change it around. So we're doing this for many other people. So as you're clearing it for yourself, you're also going to leave footprints for the people you love, your children, your clients, and all the people that you really care about, including your parents, because it also works 7 generations back, or maybe more. Apathy.
Number 50. Despair, hopelessness. Sort of giving up. You're like, nothing good's ever going to happen.
Imagine that you have a story about apathy, and it could be in your dating life, it could be in your love life, it could be in your work. You're actually really giving up on yourself, and you're letting past experiences or blocked energy determine the outcome of your life and determine your identity. And it's really and the most important thing is really not who you are. It's just another trance state that you're in. Look around you. What events have made you believe that you're never going to succeed. So we really want to reprogram you to infinite possibilities, because you are infinite. The true you, the true self, is infinite. That's why we can never ever let these lower emotions dictate our sense of identity. And that's why when we recognize apathy, we need to think, hey, who in me is talking here? Is this the program that is running my apathy, my sense of apathy about life, or about certain things that I dare not even dream about? Or is it the true me? We always have to return back to appreciation of, you know what, thankfully I recognize this as a program. This is not even me. And then move on, go higher up.
Yeah. And see your innate worth and power.
Grief is so difficult, and I think it's so important when we're in grief, and it's so important to seek help, because I think when we're in grief, we really need an expert to help us heal that wound, right? I mean, both of us have done a lot of healing work with different amazing experts. And you know what? It doesn't have to take lifetimes of work. We live in such exciting times where we can actually clear emotional blocks and energy blocks from the subconscious mind, sometimes within a few sessions. So really invest in yourself to clear the grief. If that's what you're walking around with, I would say that is one of the most difficult ones to clear by yourself, right?
Yeah.
Grief. How about fear? I think fear, like I've been dealing with panic attacks for many, many years. I needed help. There was no way, literally it will block you. And I would say, if that's the type of emotion you feel, maybe also really invest in working with amazing experts. What do you think? Do you think people can do it without help?
Fear
and grief?
Grief, no. Fear, yeah, it just takes longer. I mean, with everything, it's good to seek help. But also important to realize that you can't just get one session somewhere and think that everything is going to be fine if you're living your life and falling back into the former emotions. So there's no easy remedy for anything, but it takes the work, and that's also what the appreciation game is, doing the work every day.
Yeah, exactly. Desire. How do you understand desire? Because it sounds good, but on the level of 125,
it's like you're not having something, so you're feeling lack. But
craving.
You're craving, yeah.
So desire.
I don't have it, and I want it, and that feeling between the gap.
I must have it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be satisfied until I have it. So once I have it, then I'll be happy.
But once I have it, then I'll be worthy.
And then I'll be worthy. Yeah.
That's desire. So desire is not the way that other people explain it, like Abraham Hicks. I think they talk about desire mainly in, this is it's the vortex version of desire. But what David Hawkins is talking about is that craving, is that lacking feeling of I'm going to define myself by achieving this. And a lot of people are doing that with relationships. They're doing that with success. They're doing that with certain goals they have in their life, and they're always feeling unsatisfied. And the thing is, there's suddenly there's a program running. I can't have what I want, and I need to have that to prove my worthiness, or my value as a being. And this is the thing. This is a false premise, as Abraham would say. And we have to feel worthy even without having the desire. We have to feel worthy and valued and appreciate ourselves just because we exist. We are here in the 3D world as souls living this human life. And so all these programs that we have where we are craving something outside of us, we need to overcome that. And you will overcome it. The more you play the appreciation game, where you start understanding the levels of consciousness, the more you're going to just feel appreciated for the small things you already have and the big things that you are going to be able to experience because you're growing. The more you grow, the more you're going to see things coming to you. And that's really what will happen to you, because you can see it with other players. This is not something we're making up. This is really how life works.
And I like this word disappointing, because that's what it is. You're disappointed in yourself when you're in desire, and you're disappointed that the world is not the way you want it to be. Like the things you're wanting aren't there yet, so you're living in a state of disappointment all the time, which is not a very good creative place to be in.
The best place to be in is what Abraham Hicks would say is
Oh no. Shitty-ish. Oh, well, I hope they can cut that out. Yeah, it's still rolling.
the best place to be in is in what Abraham Hicks says: satisfied with what is, that is, appreciate with what is, with what was, and eager for more. So that is always the place where we need to go to. If we find ourselves always in desire, we have to train ourselves to appreciate with what is, with what was, just really see the beautiful journey, and to really start settling ourselves in the present moment so that we can actually be satisfied with what is, but also eager, so excited about what's coming. And if we don't do it, what we'll have is a very unsatisfactory life where we're going to do what Robert Holden calls destination addiction. You just addicted to going somewhere, and then you arrive and then you're not happy. You actually didn't even have a nice journey. So, and and that's not life. We don't want life to be like that. It's very unsatisfactory.
It's all about the journey.
Ooh, anger. Wow, yeah, I know anger. When I was doing faster EFT sessions, I had so much anger coming up. And you know what? Anger, when it comes up, it's really very often about certain programs running where you feel so, what is it, mistreated, or you feel so much anger about what has happened in the past, but then it gets triggered in the present moment. So very often your anger about the present circumstance is not even about what's going on right now. So we really want you to understand and value, the power of your anger, but actually your anger, when directed in the wrong way, will be very destructive. So you will destroy relationships, businesses, your professional reputation, just because you are not working with anger in a constructive way. So I would say, really the world has seen a lot of examples of how anger is destroying ourselves. So if you are running programs of anger, it's very, very important you work with really capable experts. And I use faster EFT, I use Psyche, theta healing, but definitely emotion code. There's a lot of stuff. Be aware that anger might not even be yours. Yeah. So a lot of stuff that's going on under 200, they could be coming from the collective mass consciousness. They could be from your industry. They could be from your country. They could be from your ancestors. They could be from your past lives. So really, there is no reason to be identified with the anger. It's really, you're doing yourself and your life a disservice by holding on to the anger and identifying with it. Everything that anger is just like, seek help. And because this is a very powerful destructive force, and you're either going to direct it to yourself or to the people you love the most. And nobody deserves that. So please do yourself a favor and seek help when you're in too much anger. What do you think? I mean, I think it can be so destructive.
Yeah, very destructive. And it's also like a worldview of things are only supposed to be this certain way, my way. And if it's any different, then the anger comes out because you just can't handle anything being another way than the way you see the world.
The thing is, it's not about. The thing is, you think anger is you, but it's not even you. This is, I think, one of the biggest things that I realized when we understand mass consciousness and the pendulums that are out there and the programs running us, is like we've been programmed to actually react a certain way because of fight, flight, and freeze. So if you have a lot of fight in your nervous system, please address it, because we don't have to run, fight, flight, and freeze. You do not tackle it now. When are you going to tackle it? So yeah, and so we can definitely refer you to amazing experts so that you can really get out of this, because you deserve an amazing, effortless life where you are not in your own way and you do not project your anger onto people that are treating you with anger. So that's the reverse side of anger, where you keep seeing yourself as victim. So no, that's not needed.
And the last one in the force side of it all is pride, 175, which is a familiar one for, well, maybe not familiar yet, but once you start studying this, you'll realize that a lot of people in the spiritual, doing the spiritual work are hanging out over here.
How did you recognize it? Because I knew it because I was studying it for many years and I was like, oh my God, I was still stuck in it for many years. How did you recognize it?
Recognizing it because whenever I saw someone going through something, I knew what I could advise and what I could say,
Yeah.
and felt like I knew it all, and then but actually not living it in my life. So that's the whole point here is that you're knowing it, but you're not embodying it yet. So you're a little wise person who's not living it in their own lives because they've studied so much.
The thing is, pride is so often, Dr. Joe, I think Dr. Joe was in the last retreat in Dubai. He was giving the example of pride is where you make distinction between superiority and inferiority. So, of course, you see yourself as superior to certain people because of certain things that you have or that you think you have, and other people as inferior, but you also place other people on superior and use yourself as inferior. So you don't really, like see everybody through the eyes of source or true love. So what Dr. Joe is giving as an example is, let's say you read a book about compassion and you tell everybody, you should read the book about compassion. You should read the book about compassion. You start giving them books about compassion, but are you compassionate yourself? No. So another one is like, oh, you should really go to that course about meditation and forgive people. You should forgive that person. Why don't you forgive people? But you are not forgiving yourself. And I think this is really, so pride is a hide. Pride is a hide because you don't even see it, because pride feels so good. And all of us want to help people. But are we going to help people by telling them what to do instead of embodying it? And very often it goes further than that. We go further than just advising and helping. We go to fixing. What happens is we don't see people for who they really are and what they're going through as an amazing process where they have free will and choice. We judge them. There's a lot of judgment in pride, very, very hidden judgment. My friends are not spiritual. Oh my God, they're so toxic. Oh my God, they're so negative. Oh my God, I can't stand these people. Guess what? We are a vibrational match to these people showing up, right? Imagine that you are, for instance, judging the corporate world. Oh my God, the corporate world is toxic and they're greedy. You know what? You're a vibrational match to it, and we cannot change the world if we're going to judge it. We resist it and we create more of it. So understanding the law of non-resistance and understanding that we are a vibrational match to whatever is showing up to our life, and how we, through our alignment, can really change other people around us. And we've seen it with multiple players in our game. Once they get out of pride and they get out of resistance, they start seeing people change. Colleagues, husbands, children, in-laws, clients, animals. I swear to God, you have to prove it to yourself. You are in this game because you want to prove it to yourself that your consciousness affects reality, affects matter, and creates the circumstances and conditions around you. So really get out of pride and start appreciating. And you know what Abraham Hicks always says? These people that tormented me back into alignment. It's so funny. But those people teaching you to go back into alignment, you need to thank them. We need to thank them. Definitely.